Hello, Tergo Technologies would like to thank you for taking the time to watch this video on how to create a GeoPDF. This video is a follow-on to a previously recorded video titled Why a GeoPDF? Help Minimizing Software Requirements Using a GeoPDF. In this video, we're consolidating what normally is a 1.5 hour training session to about 8 minutes. With that said, let's begin reviewing the objectives of creating a GeoPDF. We create a GeoPDF to meet the needs of our customer or a user requesting a product with the best geospatial representation. A GeoPDF is a container of maps, imagery, and feature data that gives the user access to this data and allows them to view and interact with it inside of Adobe Reader. Because of this, it eliminates the requirement to have any expensive or sophisticated GIS or ELT tool on their desktop. To better understand the benefits of a GeoPDF, please refer to the previously recorded video, Why a GeoPDF. As I mentioned earlier, due to the length of the video, I will only be covering a few key capabilities like controlling content to include layer, attribute, and coordinate information, which gives the GeoPDF a lightweight GIS capability, preserving data quality and minimizing file size, and embedding hyperlinks to various content to help users understand context. To start off using the Tergo publisher for ArcGIS extension, you must turn on the toolbar and activate it. The number one support call we get at Tergo is, how do I turn on the toolbar? To do so, you need to select it from the right-click menu in the toolbar area, or go to the Customize menu and select it from the toolbar drop-down list. Once this is done, the toolbar will appear, but you may notice that it's grayed out. This is because you must turn on the extension by going to the Customize menu and selecting Extensions. From there, scroll down and find the Tergo Publisher for ArcGIS listings and check each one on. Now the Tergo Publisher toolbar is no longer grayed out and ready to use. You can see that there's 7 tools on the toolbar, but today we will only be reviewing 2 of them, Export Configuration and GeoPDF Export. The first tool is the Export Configuration. This tool is sectioned into 4 different tabs: Export, Layers, Attributes, and Hyperlinks. All play a key role in constructing the GeoPDF with your customer in mind. Here on the Export tab, the producer has the options for exporting the raster and vectors depending on how the GeoPDF will be used. These options could affect the file size of your GeoPDF, helping to produce a more manageable product when file size limitations are present. The image options give you control of your resolution or DPI of the image, as well as the options to produce image pyramids to help with a better user experience. Vector options also give you control of the resolution, but more importantly, it gives you the ability to embed all document fonts into the GeoPDF, ensuring that the consumer doesn't need any sophisticated GIS or ELT tool to use the GeoPDF. Finally, the optimized GeoPDF file size reduces file size and fine-tunes the GeoPDF, making it more manageable to distribute to a customer with limited or no communications. The next tab on the Export Configuration tool is Layers. Here you can customize the GeoPDF layers to give it a look and feel specifically with the consumer in mind. By selecting Create a Layer GeoPDF, you give the consumer the ability to interact with each layer, allowing them to turn them on and off. If scale dependencies are being used in your ArcGIS layer, you can choose to maintain those settings, allowing the layers to turn on and off based on a zoom level within your GeoPDF. To customize your layer GeoPDF, you select the desired layers from the ArcMap Items section. This section lists all the layers shown in your table of contents in ArcMap. You can easily choose to select all the layers by dragging them into the GeoPDF layer section. By dragging an ArcMap item into the GeoPDF layer section, you are enabling those layers to be interactive in the GeoPDF. The power of the Tergo Publisher for ArcGIS tool is the ability to customize each layer individually without losing data integrity inside of ArcGIS. Let's take a look at some of the customization examples you can use. You were already shown how easy it is to drag and drop a layer into the GeoPDF layer section. From here, you can customize the layers further. You can rename the layers to something that may be more understandable to the customer. You can reorganize the layers by just dragging the layers to the desired location. To help with organization, you can group individual layers into one folder. In this example, you can see that there are 3 water-related layers. By creating a group and labeling it water, you can now drag each water-related layer into the group, giving the consumer the ability to interact with a single layer or the entire group. You can make multiple layers appear as one by simply going through the same process to create a group layer, but by adding a final step of right-clicking and selecting Convert Group to a Layer. Now the layered group with combined layers is treated like one layer in the GeoPDF. You can choose to select layer content to show what layers make up the combined layer. Finally, you can set the initial visibility of any layer to off. In this example shown here, the NAPE imagery was dragged into the GeoPDF layer section, and because the consumer might not understand what NAPE imagery is, we can rename it to be labeled imagery, so we remove any possible confusion. From there, you can right-click and select Layer Initial Visibility Off. That layer will be an interactive layer in the GeoPDF, but will be turned off by default when the GeoPDF is opened. The third tab on the Configuration Export tool is Attributes. Here, you have the option to embed data and attributes that make up the representation of the map inside a GeoPackage. GeoPackage is an OGC encoding standard that allows you to embed and store geospatial information inside a SQLite database. By selecting on the specific layers you want to include, the GeoPDF will give the consumer the ability to view, search, and edit the attribute data inside the GeoPDF. Layer attribute information can be somewhat overwhelming at times due to the number of fields being displayed. Some of the fields may not be relevant to the end user, and possibly the information may be restricted. The producer has the option to turn off specific attribute fields for each layer that they don't want to be represented in the GeoPDF. Only the fields that are selected on will be embedded into the GeoPackage inside the GeoPDF. This not only helps with reducing complexity of the data, but also can help reduce file size because you're only using the data relevant to the consumer's needs. The last tab is hyperlinks. If there are hyperlinks associated to a layer, you can add those to the GeoPDF. These hyperlinks can point to web links, photos, videos, spreadsheets, or documents. Whatever it may be, you can include those into the GeoPDF. Depending on the need, you have a couple options to do so. You can create a zip archive, which takes the resources in the hyperlinks and puts them inside of an archive folder to be passed with the GeoPDF. Or you can embed those resources inside the GeoPDF as an attachment. Whichever you choose, the content will be available once the hyperlink has been activated in the GeoPDF, helping the user understand context. You're finally ready to export the GeoPDF so you can deliver it to your end user. To export the GeoPDF, select on the Export GeoPDF tool from the Tergo Publisher for ArcGIS toolbar, which opens up the Export Map to GeoPDF file interface. There, you can name your output and select to save to start the process. The export does support the Data-Driven Pages feature inside of ArcMap, allowing you to produce map sheets to use in a digital atlas or a map book. You can choose to select your output based on your needs, whether it's all the maps in the project or a select few, or perhaps just the current one being viewed. If you're exporting multiple GeoPDFs, you can choose to export them as individual GeoPDFs or multiple pages inside one GeoPDF. Once the GeoPDF has finished exporting, we can open it up inside of Adobe Reader to see the results. On the left side of the GeoPDF, you can see the layers set up based on your configuration. The consumer can interact with these layers, turning them on and off by just selecting them. Notice that the image layer is off. This is because we configured that layer's initial visibility to be off. We can turn on that layer just simply by selecting it. Note the coordinate display in the bottom right side of the GeoPDF. This is showing the coordinates based on where the mouse is located in the GeoPDF. These coordinates, along with the feature layers and attributes, are embedded in the GeoPDF during the export process, making this a lightweight GIS product. Let's take a look at the attribute information that was embedded in the GeoPackage in the GeoPDF. Using the Identify tool found on the Tergo toolbar, the user can select on a feature and see all the associated attributes for that selected feature. Finally, let's look at the hyperlink that we've embedded in the GeoPDF. By selecting on the item, it will open up the resource in the appropriate application. To reiterate and conclude, we create a GeoPDF to meet the needs of our users requesting the product for the best geospatial representation. A GeoPDF is a container of maps, imagery, and feature data that gives the user access to the data, allowing them to view and interact with it inside of Adobe Reader. Because of this, it eliminates the requirement to have an expensive and sophisticated GIS or ELT tool on their desktop. Be sure to view our other videos, and be on the lookout for our future videos that would include how to use a GeoPDF in the Tergo toolbar, how to create a GeoPDF mapbook, and how to create a 3D GeoPDF. On behalf of Tergo, thank you for your time.